Good evening and welcome to KTN Home. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This is What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi. We're here at the Gem Suites, and immense gratitude to the management for giving us this beautiful lounge to tape from. Tonight's story is one of grace and resilience. This lady approached me on LinkedIn. She is a co-founder of Adapter Earth and also the managing director of Adapter Earth Africa operations. She is also a celebrated and highly celebrated at that banker. So her history is in banking, and now she's into agribusiness, climate something.
Climate adaptation.
There you go. Climate adaptation.
Yeah.
And she will tell us a lot more about that. And of course, you know, like I've always said, it's not just a straight line. Like you don't start here and get there.
Exactly.
There's been gaps here and there, and we'll get to just know how she survived all of it. Welcome to the show, Miss Madeline Withiga.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Catherine. Really a pleasure.
Yeah?
Finally meeting you. I watch all your shows.
Oh, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
because I like biographies,
Yes.
to read biographies.
Yes.
And so I like even better listening to the stories
Awesome.
of how people got to become.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I got to think,
Yeah.
you know what, you're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
really
Now you want to
happy to be-
disarm me now. Is this your strategy?
I could make it yours.
So, Adapter Earth didn't just happen. Let's trace your story from, well, the beginning, your childhood.
Yes.
What was that like?
Wow. So grew up on a farm.
Yes.
But before that, my dad was a teacher, and so we really moved places. So whenever he'd be stationed, we would be there.
Okay.
All over, including in Mombasa. And growing up, there was a lot of moving about, and I think that created in me some agility to never settle, you know. Some people say maybe that's not good, but for me, I think I liked
It's adventurous.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like, you know, I think there is the perception or the theory about never having farm childhood friends for 10 years at a go, you know.
Yes,
but I
yes.
think it also has its other silver lining, which makes me adapt very easily to different situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moved from place to place before we settled on a farm.
Yeah.
Finally, when my dad decided to live out his years in the place where he'd retire, where he lives now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, got to see my mom really doing farming, and I think that's where also, you know, the bubble started building. Yeah.
So it's like you started there,
Yeah.
living in a farm, and full circle now, your life happened, and now you're back.
Exactly.
You're back, you know, doing farming, so to speak, at a very large scale. But we'll get there.
Okay.
So you finished school, and why was banking, you know, inspiring for you? Why was it an industry that you wanted to join?
Well, the interesting bit is that I didn't pick banking.
Oh.
I did very well in school, and I just wanted to continue with school. But my dad kind of, you know, said, I think you need to start working.
Oh.
And so he told me, start interviewing, and immediately got a job at my first interview.
Where?
Just after sixth form, and that's at Barclays Bank.
So you went straight to look for a job in a bank?
Yes.
Just like that?
Yes.
My
And
God.
those days, banks would close at noon, and by 1 p.m., work is done. We've balanced. I was a cashier.
Yeah.
I was very fast.
Right.
And therefore, you know, my dad convinced me that you can do your studies in the afternoon. You know, you can try and balance work. And so I got to do my degrees actually later when I'm already, you know, working and settled in life. But I was very bright in school.
Right.
So, you know, you were saying, you'll go to college if you want to. Your brightness doesn't fade away. So just, you know, So I think he saw something because I started working. Actually, I'm born in June, and I started working in April. So I was not yet having my ID. So we had to fast track my ID. I
So
started
you're
working
genius
very
material,
early,
eh? You're
very
genius material.
I did very well in school. I actually was leading. You know, those girls would shine and lead in the district exams in the zone.
It was you.
You know,
Wow.
did very,
Okay,
very
that's
well.
awesome.
Yes.
So when you first got your first job at Barclays back then, you didn't have any sort of training.
Yeah.
They trained you like on the
while
job.
working.
Yes.
Yeah. Then banks had a system to actually do an induction, and then they would go improving your skills and upskilling you, And that was very helpful.
Yes.
And I think seated down, sometimes I'd really get bored during the mundane lessons about how do you balance cash and how do you clear checks through the system,
Right.
and how do you check out for fraud on, in cash. So I think I started developing another liking for more, you know? Yeah, I started feeling, well, my dad said school, balance school and work, but why do I feel like there's a leader coming out of me,
Right.
Yeah.
So why did you leave?
Bankers went on strike because of cost of living, actually, cost of living adjustment.
Okay.
So there's something bankers wanted adjusted. I was so young in banking, but I remember just joining the strike, and we would stay home, and banks were closed. Like nobody's
going.
All banks, KCB, Barclays, international, local banks. I actually right then went back to my farming passion because about 4 years, so this had been 8 years in banking, just as a clerk, a foreign exchange clerk, a trade clerk, but learning a lot and liking what I was seeing. I was stationed in upcountry zones, and I got to like what, seeing that farming translating to money, seeing farmers trying to do, I think farming back then, coffee farmers, dairy, tea, there used to be pyrethrum farmers, sisal, and you'd see good bank balances, So I actually say to myself, let me buy a farm. So at 24, I actually bought a 2-acre farm.
At 24 years old?
Yes.
Where?
Actually, I think I was 23 and a half. I bought a 2-acre farm and a double, trying to work. And instead of going for campus, like my dad wanted, what I'd do is spend my weekends just having women come to the little farm in Kabati and, help us, harvest, crop management.
Yes.
And I kept teaching them what they can go back and do in their own little farms. Yeah.
So so your life wasn't obviously a straight line. So you were not accepted back. You chose a different path. You went to your 2-acre farm and you did what you were doing. So you were growing, harvesting, and selling to the market.
Yes, exactly.
How profitable was that?
Well, on a good day, that would be profitable.
Yeah.
Today, there's a middleman function, which completely erodes that advantage.
Yes.
Because if a woman farmer is needing to give their produce to someone at the farm gate for them to go and sell, she has already let go of so much margin. She's already let go of so much margin, and the middleman has the power to aggregate and sell at bulk and dictate the price.
Oh, wow.
So it can be profitable, but it depends on the channel that the farmer has. And that's what we are trying to solve.
Yeah. So in between that season of your life, when did you choose to start a family?
All right. So my firstborn came early in 1995.
Okay.
When I was in banking, my first years in banking, I already had my firstborn.
Okay.
I was already married then. I got married young. And then my other babies came during the break, just before I went back to banking in 2001 and 2002. Two wonderful girls.
Okay,
yes.
Nice. So what tragedy did you overcome where family is concerned?
Oh, well, getting into what I'd say quick marriage, early marriage, just saying yes to the first man who said, "Can I marry you?"
Okay.
And I thought, oh, you're an engineer. You're working for Kengen. There were no mobile phones, but he had a pager, like, and there was a car coming for him because,
How old were you then?
I was very young.
Okay.
Do you want to know?
I want to know.
Well, I was only 19 and a half
when
I thought, yes, I can get married, The actual ceremony took place later, but it's amazing how when you make wrong decisions, I'd say you're trying to make lemonade out of what?
Lemons?
Sweet potatoes.
Oh, sweet potato. Oh, that's how it was, eh?
Yeah.
So you were 19 and a half and he was?
He was older by far.
By far?
About 25, 27, 26 then.
Okay,
okay.
So that union lasted for how long?
Well, I tried. I'd say I tried.
Okay.
Because up to my last born in 2002, from 1991, is when I said, I think this is it.
Yeah. And what led you to making that decision?
I think women, I think we just need to be awake. So I'm caught in between this place where I say, I should have made the decision to walk earlier, But then I love my babies so much, you know. I'm like, these are gifts. So it's okay. But I think staying with a wide open view of when things are not working, that there's option B and walking towards option B. That's what I would, I think, say I didn't do because, you know, plowing back, like I said, lemonade from sweet potato, trying to make things work. I wish women or anyone in any situation that's not working could say, I'm going to try my bit to make this work, but I'm also going to plan. If it doesn't work, then what? I think that is where a lot of times you find people settling for not very good situations.
Yes.
So the tragedy was, I mean, I don't think we have time to go into that.
Yeah.
But it was just...
Yeah, and suitable for you, for your health and for your babies as well.
Yes.
So by the time you were leaving, did you have a plan?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think I took too long. But towards the very end, I jumped out with a plan and I decided, you know what, I'm a shooting star and I've been acting something else. And so it's time to really go for what I know I'm made of.
Yes.
Catherine, I think if you're in the wrong situation and environment, it can cow you, you know, it can intimidate you into thinking less about yourself and very little about life. And yet there's this whole ocean, deep ocean of opportunity before you.
Yes.
But you're being pinpointed to a perspective that doesn't even, it's not your cup of tea.
No.
You're being, you know, you're taking from a cup of sourness that it's not your cup of tea.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think at the time when I decided, you know what, I'm switching gears, it was not very hard because I said to myself, God knows I tried. And so, you know, the divorce was no drama. It was just, this is it, and moving on.
Yeah. Wow. And because divorce is not easy, eh?
Yeah.
So how did you get through that? It's because it's a really dark season. It's a dark cloud that just hovers. So even if you've left a bad situation, and different people have different experiences.
Yeah.
But whatever the experience is still a dark, there's a darkness that you have to overcome and you need support. At times you get it, at times you don't. So it's just you and you and your God and your babies. So how did you navigate that season?
I think I got a lot of support from my parents, forever grateful.
Awesome.
Because they could see through things. And it's me who took time and took long to want to create a theory, you know, that, you know, I can bulldoze through this because I'm a go-getter, you know, so I'm like, things around me work. Why isn't this one working? So, you know, but my mom kept telling me, you know, even her own story, because my mom was brought up in Maasai land and dad had 8 wives and her mom was the 7th wife and she was being forced into the traditional, you know, hacking of the ears. Maasai girls would get hacked their ears, you know, like cut for beads. You know,
right,
she had, But she walked away from that and that's family and she went into a mission, got adopted. My first name is actually the name of her foster mom in the mission, you know, Madeline.
Okay.
A lot of people ask me, where did you get Madeline? They think I picked a name that I wanted to
it's very unique, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so my mom would say, you know, you can walk away to better, you know. I walked away from family to better. Today, you know, she was almost being forced into early marriage at 13, you see?
Ooh.
Yeah, so, and today, I mean, she's just a force to reckon with.
Yes.
We say if my mom got educated in the standards of what education really means, I think she'd be a name, but I derive a lot of inspiration from her story.
So at least your parents supported you during that phase.
A lot,
okay.
Yes. Yeah, they were there for me.
Yeah.
They were there for me, a strong pillar, I'd say. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
At least you had that support.
Exactly.
So then you decided to go to banking, back to banking.
Yeah, back now to the second phase of banking.
Yes, second phase.
Yeah. Now this time I went with fire in the belly, you know, like I'm not going to be a clerk, cashier, all this. Yeah, I'm going to the C-suit. And so I just worked my way up. I remember wanting to win in everything. You know, I had this rebirth. I say, Catherine, that I think a man's greatest moments are the day they are born, and they're not even aware they're being born, but they are aware, but they don't really know. So there are
Yeah.
greater days,
Yeah.
which is when you also get born again. You know, when
Yes.
you find Christ, because in Him we live and move and have our being.
Yes.
And then when you get born into purpose, and that's where I would say my rebirth came about.
Yes.
When I said, you know what, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
I started writing all the nice titles I'd like to own next to my name.
Oh.
Today I journal a lot, so I'd look back to my journals and see, you know, at one time I wanted to be the customer service manager of this small bank, and
Yeah.
I felt that was such a high
Yeah.
title. I look back and laugh because I'm like, that was so small. But you see, at that time, I'm aiming for what looks very big and I want to achieve it. And I think that, and also faith, propelling me along the way. Yeah.
So you rose all the way up.
Yes, actually from...
Give us that career traction.
I moved from... I went back to banking as a cashier. I still went, amazingly, same salary, not same bank, but same salary and same role, but stayed at it very short time. And then I moved to become the assistant branch manager of that small little bank back in the village still.
Wow.
And moved from there to become the acting branch manager. Then I said, why am I acting? I started not liking the word acting. There used to be, you're given an acting letter, you know?
Yeah.
I said, why am I acting? I want to be the real thing. So I actually moved to a bank that was opening a new branch in that town. And, now became a real branch manager, you know?
Oh, my goodness.
And did really well, like really well. Then I got poached by another bank to now move on to another town, now this time closer to the city. And, I just kept growing and growing until I went now to my last port of call and ended up as the regional and country head for SMEs for Standard Chartered. But all along, I kept winning awards because I think for me, focus and passion, and grit, I say, so there's in you, focus and passion. Out there, apply grit. Yeah, just apply the thing. I say to young people especially, if you don't give, say, your education your all, what will happen is you'll get whatever grades you get.
Right.
You could get good grades because maybe you have genes of a genius, or you could get bad grades, but you didn't give it your all. Now, what carries you through life is not the number, it's not the grade, it's not the A, B, or C on your certificate. It's the thing you gave it. Because if you give it your all, now it doesn't matter what life throws at you. You'll give it your all, and your outcomes will be greater, than someone who just sits back and says, well, and I feel like there's too much giving up around going on,
Oh.
Yeah, I think there's too much giving up going around, and I'm like, where is your thing? Where is that
fire?
Yeah, where
drive.
is you?
Yeah, where are you?
Yes.
Wow,
and I'm not saying this because I feel I've, hit
achieved
it and achieved
and
hacked it, but I say life needs to be hacked. You need to hack life.
You need
so
to
I'm
hack
still
it.
hacking life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, so you rose to regional what? Just say that again. Regional?
At the point where I actually left banking in 2019, I was country head for SMEs for Standard Chartered, but also double hatting as the regional head for 10 markets in Africa.
10 markets?
Yes. From selling tomatoes in Githurai
years
back.
My goodness.
So I think it's important to stay focused.
Focused
and on the path to greatness. And I think the voice is, when I wake up every morning, what do I tell myself, So I normally also hack my thoughts. I'm like, what are my first thoughts? Apart from prayer, fitness, gym, you can be doing all that, but what's the inside voice saying to you every day?
Wow. So what are some of the things you tell yourself? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so for me, I consider every day as a very big opportunity to do something new. And I'm like, the old can be renewed and something new can also be added, So I think, it's important, Catherine, to really look at life as opportunity ridden. Why I say there's too much giving up going on is because if we all walk back to the center place and said, let me ask, where is the good way? And walk down that other way. It's possible to round about things.
I absolutely admire just how you picked yourself up, went to one of the most prestigious industries, banking, and you didn't settle at that level that you didn't want. You went all the way, winning awards, being celebrated, etc. And by the time you're leaving, you left on a high, managing 10 markets in Africa.
I traveled a lot as well.
Yeah.
So I got to become part of the SME Global Strategy team for emerging markets. And so we were 7 markets, top performing markets in Southeast Asia, in Middle East, and in Africa. And I got to be part of that team that would meet in Singapore every now and often, and then travel to many markets, sharing and learning best practices. And it really opened my eyes also to when you resolve that there's a higher path, a higher road, there's a greater thing out there. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for
awesome.
that. I attribute it also, of course, to God. Because I said passion, focus, is what is on the inside, grit on the outside, but the strength comes from God.
Tell us some of the awards you've won.
Oh, well.
Yes.
I think the one that really excited me the most, I actually won here in Kenya, was from the global head for Standard Chartered for retail banking, and it was for strategy implementation. I was best in applying strategy as it should have to SMEs at the time.
Wow. Okay, so 2019, at the very top, you said, enough, there's more.
I know.
Hey, it's never enough. It's never enough with you, eh? From 19, there's more, there's always more. Awesome. Okay.
I just maybe, at that point, I think I got
bored,
tired of the status quo, because I was really brimming with ideas and ways to do this and craft this proposition and do the other.
They would sit somewhere.
And then I said, there's an opportunity to do more and big out.
KTN Home, this is What's Your Story? I'm Catherine Mwangi. This is part 2 of a conversation we're having with the Managing Director of Africa Operations for Adapter Earth. She's also the co-founder of the same organization. In case you're just joining us, first of all, you can take part in this conversation. Send your feedback. SMS number 22151. The number is on your screen somewhere down here. It is free of charge to send SMSs to this channel, so just contribute, send your feedback. If you have any questions, obviously we're not live, but we will send those questions to her, but 22151 is where you send your comments. So far we have established that Madeline Withiga started off, she grew up in a farm, and then she finished high school and she just went straight to work in a bank, and then they all got fired, all bankers in Kenya got fired, and she bought a farm at 24 years old. 24, she had a 2-acre farm, and she concentrated on her farm, did all the farming, grew crops, sold them, and she also went through a painful divorce. So marriage was not working. Reached a point she decided, that's not my cup of tea. We cannot make lemonade from sweet potato, she said.
Because the potato was sweet, but
the potato was sweet. Let me tell her to repeat it. It is her story.
Anyway,
so you left banking at the very top, and you decided if my ideas and proposals are not finding room here, it is an opportunity for me to do more and greater.
Yeah.
So for you, it was not at if for like, now what is this? Why my ideas not being adopted? You know, you didn't get into whining, you know, just being toxic at your workplace. You're just like, no, it's not my cup of tea.
Yes, that's correct. I actually, now that you're saying it, realize I really don't spend time mopping.
Oh,
yeah,
I like that.
It's a colossal waste of time.
Ooh, using words I like. Colossal waste of time. I love it.
And its magnitude is just, it will go on, and you'll call now a pity party to call other people to mop your tears. I think support systems work, but I think choose those conversations. First of all, conversations with God. I keep going back there. Because what if I drop down on my knees and just tell the Lord these things? Or lie flat if I feel my tummy needs to touch the floor. And this thing, so there are other, I think, ways to come out of there with value. Value that causes you to move on. Because by the way, you can't speak to God and you rise the same. By the time you lift off, you know that there is another way forward. There's another way forward, and I think, like you've said, it's important to really, I think, spend time thinking, what's the next? What's the next thing? What's calling me? There's a phrase I love saying, some things actually call your name.
But that's my phrase. You're speaking my language. Yes. Okay. Yeah. You're speaking my language.
Okay. So, I mean, when something is calling your name, fear, I think, also keeps us away, and there's fear of failure. There's also fear of success. A lot of the opportunities that call us, we let them go because I think, what if it works? What does this mean for my time, for my abilities to keep at it? What does it mean for me opening up to more than my comfort zone right now? So there's also fear of failure, but there's actually fear of success. So,
So you left.
Yes.
And how did adapter first of all, what's the meaning of adapter?
Okay, so adapter is coined from the word adaptation. When you go back to how crops are produced or livestock, and a changing climate, if the methods of growing crops or the keeping of livestock doesn't adapt to the climate, the changing climate, then definitely there will be production failure. So my co-founder, a gentleman I really honestly respect, Haman Vergara, was heading World Bank. He was a global head for agribusiness. He also left around just a few years just before me, but we bumped into each other and found that we had a common passion for changing how banks actually and financial institutions, large conventional banks and, international banks and the World Bank itself. We said, let's put together thoughts that not only speak to how should you produce livestock or crops, but also how do we speak to bankers, being bankers ourselves. You remember now that number of years, I was almost like 28 years in banking, and his is a long history, almost 35 plus. So he said, why don't we come together, speak a language that convinces bankers that it is possible for farmers to adapt to climate change. So we first of all put the name, so it's gone through many versions. It was other names before, then we settled on adapter.earth. And that's our website is www.adapter.earth. But we said, let's come together and think of creating an assessment framework that helps a banker to fund a farmer. Today, farmers are deemed to be risky, and correctly so. Farming has its inherent risks anyway. Farming has its production risks, failure of production. And so I would find that, for example, in my years of banking, any portfolio I handled, we really were averse to lending to the agri sector. And that was, for me, a paradox, a situation that wasn't so comfortable for me because I grew up on a farm. My dad was a farmer, teacher, but also a farmer. My mom was a farmer. My granddad was a farmer. My great-granddad was a farmer. You know, I'm like, why are we not lending to the sector? And any proposition we tried out to try and channel money into growing the portfolios of agri would end up in bad book. And so, you know, we said, let's come together and just look at ways and frameworks that can help bankers lend in a less risky manner to the sector. And that's how Adapter was born. Now, why are we going to the less traveled places? We like to say, you know, when we are going to do projects in Turkana, because we have projects in Turkana, in Kerio Valley, in the dry places, in Kajiado, just here, you know, what are we trying to prove is that there is a concept that it is possible to actually turn idle land into arable and reliably producing land.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what projects are you doing in those places?
So we have across 10 value chains. So we've picked the most staple crops, your maize, beans, tomatoes, onions, everyday crops, and also cash crops like tea. Dairy is also, you know, a cash, you know, dairy as well. So, and horticulture, horticultural crops, you know, crops in high demand for export. And we said, instead of trying to prove that tomato can grow well in Kiambu, why don't we prove that it is possible that the vacant range lands can produce good crop? And when I went to Israel, it actually really inspired me.
Yeah. Is that the pin you're wearing?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm really...
Where'd you get that pin from?
So I traveled. I'm doing a master's in agribusiness management. And I had the good grace to travel to Israel as part of the case study to see how arid agriculture has succeeded. Right. There's so many theories about Israel, you know, oh, they import soil from this place and come and pour red soil in the desert. No, you find that it's possible to restructure soil and to harvest water and to conserve water and to do, you know, very good, reliable agriculture in the desert, because we know that Israel is a desert. So I went there partly for just even religious, you know, reasons. Yes. But also got very inspired from walking through the kibbutzes, which are actually former desert communities, like our Turkana, Samburu, Marsabit stories, but former desert communities that then would form a core center of a community that can produce food, process what they need in order to sustain this, you know, the circularity. And that really inspired me, because you'll find some kibbutzes are as old as in the 40s when Israel gained its independence. And they just get together, families, and then decide who are growing our daily crops, bananas, who are growing the fruits we need, who are going to keep the cows, who are going to process the milk, who are going to market the milk. And so there's such a nice social system that when we went into projects, doing our own projects, especially in the rangelands, we are seeing that that change is becoming. When I talked about fat babies in Turkana, so if I'm going to Turkana, I'll fly to Lodwar, then get off, and then travel for about, from the flight, about 5-6 hours of just bumpy, you know, just, you know, and what you see along the way is very, it's just you know, emaciated children, just dry places. But when you get to the centers where we have our project, it's really a different story, completely. And I think also the theory that we want to do as Adapter, apart from doing what banks ought to do, you know, or rather pioneering the approach that bankers can take to take more interest in the agri sector, we are also really changing the dependence of those regions into self-dependence, dependence on aid into self-dependence. Because handouts, Catherine, can't work for too long.
They're not
can't,
sustainable.
Yes, exactly.
So do you work with farmers from those regions?
Yeah, we work with farmers, and we have what we call a household approach. So remember, they are pastoralists, so they'll still want to keep their cows because that's their sign of wealth. But we agree, who can, is it the man of the household who can go on with the pastoral? So we are calling them agro-pastoralists.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're not breaking their culture and their known systems. Remember, this is inherited. It's very hard to tell people, dump your cows and start this. And remember, these cows were really dying during the drought. But anyway, we show them that you can grow grass. So one half of the family, because they have large families, There's a lady out there I love called Selena. She has 10 children. Some are grown. They're getting educated. So those that are out of school can actually help her plant grass. They don't need to go so far into really risky terrain to graze cows. It's possible. And, you know, grass is a really great carbon sequestrator. So growing grass is helping them feed the cows, having them more, you know, more occupied, and also, you know, providing feed for the cows and making sure that the family is involved in economic practices.
Okay.
So we kind of have merged into the communities and what they do naturally. I know it's hard, but you saw my photos. It's hard to believe that these banker
green.
But it's amazing when you see the change happening. Some of them, like there's a family which, well, lost their person in Turkana because of cattle rustling and all this. And also such things, you'll come find that they're happening and see that there's a better way. Instead of people fighting for grazing land and watering holes, it's possible to turn where you're at into more productive use.
So how do you identify the communities or the farmers to work with, for example? How does the process work? So when you go, for example, to, I heard you mention Elgeyo Marakwet.
That's a good question.
So how do you, so you've gone there, and then?
So one example I can give you in Turkana, so we looked at, there's a church mission. So we believe in, you know, just integrating with what the community is doing. So we start from there. So what systems exist for community engagement? What are they trying to do? Where are they stuck? So we kind of go in to build what, you know, what exists. Because you're right, you can't just go in the middle of Narok and just say, hey, I'm going to start here, you know. The other way we work is through aggregators. There's a very famous tortilla chips company, which you find on Carrefour shelves and such. What you don't know is that the story behind that product is maize grown and potatoes grown by really poor farmers.
Here in Kenya?
Here in Kenya. And this couple, the lady is Kalenjin, got just, you know, she's really worked in very big organizations. When she came back home, she decided, I'm going to like uplift my community and create, through my networks, market for my products, but source from my people. Her husband is Swiss and they're doing a beautiful job. So when we are talking to a project like that, we realize, of course, if their factory is situated in Kajiado and their produce is being marketed, branded and packaged and sold in Carrefour in the city, there must be a gap. What I'm talking about, how do we integrate into an existing, you know? So there must be a gap in how they relate, of course, to the sourcing of raw materials.
Farmers who are watching you and they feel we need Adapter Earth, we need Madling to be involved with what we're doing as a community, maybe to scale it up, to blow it up, whatever reason. How do they find you or reach you, or what process is there? And if they don't have websites,
I know. So the other way, again, talking of integrating into existing systems, is that, and I encourage farmers all over, please belong to cooperative societies. Some are actually, some are, let's say, dairy cooperative societies, and that we work with, actually one of the largest ones in the country. Others are the tea societies. We work with the largest in the country. But there are also others which are just cooperatives, you know, community cooperatives, because we are looking into actually going into those and creating the program to help farmers who are organized around cooperatives. So that's a system that's worked in Israel, where the system of organizing communities into a systemic, you know, just a system.
An ecosystem.
That helps. That helps.
Okay.
Because one of the issues that has really affected the farmer, going back to our earlier discussion, the middleman takes advantage where there's no coordination of market, coordination of input supplies. But cooperatives is a really great system. Well, we are also doing a lot of capacity building and governance education in cooperatives, because sometimes they are ridden by politics and, you know, just so much sideshows. So we go into financial education, you know, we go into so much. And we are really a lean team, but we are addressing things from the root, you know, from the root going up. I call it well, bottom up. A poor farmer is a sick paradox, because your land rich, your asset rich, your knowledge rich, but your pocket poor. You know, that doesn't work. It just, you know, in the advanced markets, in my current role, I've also now traveled to even more countries than I did before. And I've seen in the first world, farmers are plush, they are good, they are happy, they're celebrated.
Yeah.
A farmer is a respected member of society.
Yeah.
Yeah. Farmer.
Wow.
Now here, farmer looks like...
They look down upon, eh?
Yeah.
Like, what is that you're
Exactly.
doing?
But the narrative is changing.
It's changing.
Yeah. You see more and more young corporate people. Even these guys here, one of them could just tell you they have a
farm somewhere.
farm,
Even I have a farm at my
you
balcony.
See, yeah. Yeah, by the way, that's the other trend that's going to really catch on soon.
I'm growing some herbs.
Yeah, you know, mint and, and
those
rosemary and the like. I love that.
Oh my goodness. So as we wind up, Madeline,
Yeah.
I like something you said earlier. What did you say? You said something about you don't understand why there's too much something around. What did you say?
Giving up.
Yes. So earlier on you said there's too much giving up around.
Yeah.
And you didn't understand it, and you're like, there's just too much. Like, why are people giving up? And so, as we say goodbye, and I just want you to just look at the camera and just speak to the people who are giving up, or on the verge of giving up, or who have already given up.
I think I'd say one word, which is stick to itiveness. Stick to it. You know, I think it's in the dictionary, but there's a word, stick to itiveness, with hyphens in the middle. Just sticking to it and saying, there's something in me that is yet, you know, there's something yet to come. There's something yet unearthed, you know. There's latent potential that I can still bring up and bring out and apply it. And the world is waiting. It's amazing that when you say to yourself that opportunity exists, then you will find yourself gravitating towards that opportunity. So giving up is actually choosing to faint and raise your hands and say, liwalo liwe, and that's not correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think in terms of opportunities.
Yes.
What is the opportunity presenting itself here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then something starts to shift.
Actually, allow your mind to be boggled by so much to do and very little time to do it. Because actually that's the reality. I believe that's the reality. From deep inside me, there's so much to do and very little time to do it. And the voice that tells you can't, shouldn't, won't, somebody else should do, I think take a moment to ask yourself, and why not me? And mission, passion, focus, grit will lead you to what's yours. Because again, remember, you're not made for everything. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we are saying goodbye. Before we go, how can you be 52 and there's no wrinkles? What are you applying?
Nothing.
Secrets to your beauty and youth. What do you mean your children are married, some of them?
Yeah, they are. Inner peace.
What is that?
Finding gratitude also, being grateful for what every day brings. Sometimes it's not so good, but saying, but in there is a lesson learned. So being grateful for that lesson I extracted and applying it. And this is not cliche.
No.
For sure, at the end of every day, I journal. And I say to myself, things that went good, good.
Yeah.
Things that didn't go so well, but what's the lesson in this?
Yeah.
What do I not need repeat tomorrow? And being grateful that there was the opportunity to learn and it didn't take me down, whatever that is. So tackling each day in its fragments, yeah, rather than building a big mountain out of small daily molehills.
Yeah. So that's the secret to the youth, inner peace.
Yeah, inner peace. Yeah, that comes from gratitude.
And journaling. You know my next question.
What?
So has someone found you?
I knew that was coming.
I have to ask.
I'll pass.
Yeah, you don't pass.
For sure.
No, of course you can pass. So you want to keep that quiet?
Well, I think I'm just so involved in... I'm just so involved in...
Okay, in what you're... In the mission.
Yeah.
The mission, right?
Yeah,
Nice
so
mission.
these are things will come.
They'll come.
Yeah.
They have already come. Perspective. They have come. They are here. Okay, I get it. That season is here. Me, I know. I can design it, but it is fine. I respect your privacy. The next time you sit here, you will say it freely, freely. But I'm so grateful you came today, Madeline. Should people want to reach you for anything, or even just, consult with you about their farms, or even just women going through a hard time in their marriage, because, your story has very many layers, or even women in corporate, and they've been afraid of, just pivoting to the next thing.
Yeah.
So how can people reach you?
So my social media goes just by my name. So on Facebook, it's Madeline Mwithiga. On LinkedIn, it's Madeline Mwithiga still. So I'm active, a bit active on LinkedIn.
Oh, you're super active. Why? Ask me. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not very hard to reach me.
Yeah.
Especially through those
social media.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn and Facebook, your two names.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm so glad we did this. And yes, you have a beautiful, beautiful, powerful story.
Thank
and
you.
I thank you for encouraging our audience to just go out there. I like what you said. Who are you? Where are you? Like, where are you? Where is the thing? Go do the thing.
There's something.
There's something.
Yeah.
I love it. That's my take home. Thank you so much, Madeline.
All right. Thank you so much, Catherine, for having me.
Yeah.
Really a joy. And enjoy this session.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, as I did as well. And I hope you also did enjoy Madeline's story. 22151, your comments, questions, anything you may need to know about the conversation we've had today. And the show goes up on YouTube right after this. So if you just want to rewatch it, just to glean some of, the gems she has dropped here, please go to YouTube and watch that. There's a repeat a week from now. That's next Saturday. You also get to watch that on screen. I'm so grateful you made the time tonight to watch What's Your Story. If you have a story and you want to share, you want to sit here, exactly what she did is what you do. Find me on social media, or even just text the same number, 22151, and just say you have a story and leave your number there, and then Millicent can get in touch with you to just get more details about what your story is. Until next week, you take care of yourselves, and God bless you.
Gem Suites Hotel and Luxury Serviced Apartments currently boasts 2 properties within Kenya. Gem Suites State House Crescent, set in the exclusive State House neighborhood, comprises of 34 well-appointed apartments, and Gem Suites Riverside, set up in a secure, private and tranquil setting. In the upscale Riverside neighborhood with 98 luxuriously appointed full-service 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, superior hotel rooms and presidential penthouses.